So basically, I've been brought up in a sort of a round about the life of bikes through my mum and dad and my older brother. So yeah, started off racing motocross bikes when I was 5, and then progressed on to mini motos and then onto the road bikes. So yeah, it's been pretty full on in my 26 years, but yeah, I've loved every minute of it. I think because I don't know anything different. I was brought up in that environment, and obviously it was a choice. It was a choice from me. Obviously, my mum and dad and brother and everything didn't force me into it, but because that was the kind of path that my brother went on, then I just automatically kind of followed on, and ended up absolutely loving it. So I didn't take much notice of being, you know, male dominated at that age. It wasn't until kind of the older years that I started kind of realizing, oh, I may be the only girl in this race or the only girl in this like paddock at any one point. So, being perfectly honest, I probably wouldn't have looked at it as a possible hobby. So yeah, I wouldn't have probably given it a second thought if I hadn't been brought up in that sort of bike of life environment from the very start. It is a physically demanding sport, and it's something that I think the overall enjoyment of it has kind of overrides everything else. I mean, you don't really think about how knackered you are or everything like that. It's just the overall, enjoyment of it, and you do feel energized and motivated, and you have got a determination, and you've got goals and stuff, like things to look forward to. I think that definitely helps your overall like health, like mental health and well-being and stuff, definitely. I think the typical stereotype for me even made me even more determined to want to prove people wrong, in terms of they were maybe a bit shocked, or I wanted to kind of eliminate any shock that people would get of me being or doing well within my sport. I didn't want it to be, oh, a girl on a bike. Oh, um, I didn't want people to look at me twice and think, oh, it's a girl doing that. It shouldn't be like that, but it is. There's always going to be an element of that um, in the world we live in just now, and I think it's very, very difficult for people to overcome the barriers that of what other people think of them. It is very hard, especially if you've not got the confidence or the support network around you. I mean, I've been really lucky that I've got a family that have supported me throughout it all. And it would be really difficult for somebody to try and stick with something if they didn't have, that support network. To try and get young children, like young adults involved in different sports, I think it all stems from the experiences they get from school. So I think trying to incorporate like that sort of physical activity and mental health, well-being, and just really trying to focus on that from a young age. And because I mean, I know personally, I had a really good experience at school and at PE, and I love taking part in all the sports and everything. But I know that there's so many of my friends will refuse to go into a gym or will refuse to take part in any sort of physical activity because they've had bad experiences and it's just put them off. So I think if it's something that they're maybe exposed to from earlier on, or they've maybe had an opportunity to take part in something, even if it's with a friends group, they might be more likely to try and try different sports and get more involved in things if they're able to try things out from an earlier age.
All right, Samuel, listen, thanks very much for your input, and lovely to hear what you have to say.